Good day, and thank you for joining us. I am Winnie with another Spiritual Talk with Winnie. Today, I will be talking to the lovely and beautiful soul, Anayza. We're going to dig deep into who this lovely witness is, how she is beneficial to helping healing others, and also where her journey has led her today. So, thank you so much for joining me, Anayza. How are you today?
I'm feeling well. I'm feeling
Good,
well.
good. I'm so happy you came to chat spiritual with me.
Me too. Me too.
Yeah, so I'm gonna tell everyone how we met, but first, before we get started, let's start with you start off usually with a small, just quick breathing
Mhm.
exercise before we get started with our interview. So here we go.
Okay. So let me just both close our eyes. Just bringing our awareness to our breath. Allowing every inhale and exhale. Bring relaxation into our body. Feeling the earth beneath us. The spirit councils around us. Supporting us as we enter into our heart space here together. Mm. Bringing us into this present moment. You can gently open our eyes as you're ready. Mm.
Thank you. Thank you so much. That felt really, really good.
As soon as you invoke the being, they're always present, but in invoking them, they it's like a reflection. Your reflection's always present, but when you see it, it's like something comes alive.
Yes, it feels really, really good. So,
Mhm.
thank you. Thank you very much. So, what we're going to start with today is just getting more about your background, who you are, and what you do. So, could you tell us more about who you are?
Okay. My name is Anayza, and I work as an energy healer and intuitive channel, and I also share doing systemic family constellations. And so a general way of saying it is this: I work as an intuitive healer, and I help people with all sorts of traumas and wounds, as well as people looking to fulfill intentions and come into line with their purpose, along the lines of their soul purpose and their cosmic purpose, and feeling more whole and supported on the earth in this moment. So that's what I do, and that's who I, and so it's who I am, and it's what I do. um, and more about me, I come from depression was active in my life from a young age, and that led me on a journey of seeking, and it led me to meditation. And so a lot of my gifts opened up through spending lots of time meditating and just working with different healers and different places, and really just opening myself up to be healed by the earth in many different ways. And then it sort of, at some point, I realized that what I've uncovered in myself was meant to be shared with others.
Yeah, I know that you are very good at connecting because this is actually how we met.
Mm.
We I met Anayza on Facebook actually. She was doing um, readings on a live group session, and I said, I need to know who this beautiful person is. I need to know. And I said, I know that she may or may not respond to who I am on Facebook because of the way, it's kind of difficult to tell who actually could be serious about some things and who's not. And so I just decided, I said, I'm going to just send her a message. I'm going to tell her who I am. I'm going to tell her that I'm from this spiritual platform that we've just began, and to see if she would be willing to come along this journey with us and do a lot of what her spiritual work is, and just bringing that to the platform. And I just could not wait to do that. I mean, you all have no idea, this soul, this beautiful woman, Anayza, she's vibrant, and what she does for people, it just really captures the attention. And so I just had to have her on. I've also had viewers come to me and tell me that they don't know what it is about Anayza.
Oh, really?
Yes, yes. They said, I don't know, one person in particular, she said, I don't know what it is, but when I go to your site, I'm drawn to her. And she said, I don't know what it is. And she goes, I said, oh, really? I'll have to let her know that. So
That's sweet. Wow.
yeah, so I said, you know what, when I get a chance to talk to her, I'm going to let her know, if she knows her importance of who she is to so many people. And so this is just one of the reasons, definitely, why I wanted to bring you on and let you get a chance to tell our viewers what more of your work that you do, what you've already come to the platform and done for us, and where your journey will be going, from here. Because I know that you are still working, you still are on spiritual journey work, doing your own missions, and as we all are, we never really stop doing that, So so it's really, really nice that I got a chance to connect with you, through the platform and through Facebook, one platform to another. So thank you.
Yeah.
So since meeting Anayza, she has started offering her specialties through enlightenment. She's also had a session through the Connect Star platform where she talks about her journey thus far. And she's learned how to view the Akashic Records. So if you'd like to check this out, it's posted on YouTube. And it's also on our site, and it's very, very interesting. So your journey itself is interesting. It's very fascinating, actually, because when you did the first video, you told a lot about how that came to be, how you opened the records and how that started. So let's talk a bit more about that. So for those of you who hadn't had a chance to watch the video or don't know, tell us more about the Akashic Records. First of all, let's talk about the pronunciation, because that is very easy. That's very easy to get wrong. So what is it now? You just said it, but let's hear you say it again. What is the pronunciation for it?
Akashic Records.
Akashic Records. Okay, so now, is there a meaning behind that?
Akasha. There's something in pronunciation, though, that isn't incorrect, because I'm just seeing how it's spelled out phonetically, and there's like an EA. So I just want to, I don't know, it's just, yeah, it's present, so it's okay.
Okay. Now, I want to say it right, because you've called me out on this before, actually.
The spelling.
So, okay, so what would be the way I would say it if I was just spelling it phonetically, like in a way that I understood it? What would be the best way to spell it?
Spell it phonetically, Akashic, AKASHIC. I feel Akashic. So
it's just the A is an ah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Akashic Records.
Yeah.
Okay, I could still be saying it, but yeah, it's still a lovely Records way of looking at things in life, and it's just something that you introduced me to, being spiritual, coming into a new form of spirituality for myself. There's just some things that I'm learning about, so that's another reason that has drawn me to you, because you have such you have such interest in it, and it's something that you mentioned is very important in our lives. So yeah, so tell us more about it.
Yeah. So the Akashic Records are an etheric library. They're like a library of the sky, a very thought, emotion event recorded in one soul's history.
Mhm.
So we all have an Akashic record of our soul, and it kind of, in some ways, what the words that's coming now is that it stores the karma, it kind of shows the linear path, and it also stores the information that sort of enables us to break out of our karma, to break out of like the circular cycle, because as we know, when we come into this body, we go through a forgetting, and our remembering is our capacity to kind of be fully ensouled and present. And there's so many ways to do that. Like you were just saying how your particular way is different. Cause I kind of, when you said that, I saw like a Rubik's cube, and there's there's all these different sides to this prism, and all the different sides are a way of translating soul and spirit. And we all have unique ways, and it's all part of this one shape. And so I find the Akashics were, they were very resonant to my own soul, and I know they're resonant to other souls, and they're not the way for every soul. Everyone's different. But how they, I studied English literature in school, and I come from a background that's quite intellectual, and a large part of my journey was moving from my mind to my heart, and a large part of my journey is, continuing that journey into being more of a sensing body than a thinking body. But what the Akashic Record did for me was that the way I heard the words, when they phrased the words, they completely turned around the thinking. They completely disrupted my thought patterns and offered new ones with an energetic resonance that brought feelings of clarity and lightness to my being. And that's what I see offered for other people. It's like the way they phrase the words and the energetics of their sharing really offers a certain freedom of the heart that's really beautiful, that has really helped me in my own life. And I know it has helped others as well.
So when they first came to you, did you just automatically know, the pronunciation? You just automatically felt and knew what was going on?
Well, I received Akashic Record readings years ago, like 2014, I think was the first time. And I received them twice. So I knew about them before.
Okay.
And I remember like a few months before they opened for me, messaging a woman who read my own Akashic Records, being like, how do you open them? All she said was just to be silent and meditate and ask a question and to see what happens. And so maybe so they opened for me in December of 2018. And that was like the summer before that she said that. But when they opened, the day they opened, no, they opened I think they opened in January. Yeah, January. I knew it was the moment. It was like it's always been there, and yet I was seeing it for the first time. Like that was a feeling. I was sitting in Peru on these beautiful, amazing sacred ruins of Uyaytandambo. Well, this was the second part. It was a two-day part for me. Because first I called down and asked for my soul from the Akashic Counsel, which is not something I heard before. That was completely, I didn't even know that was a thing. But I just did a bit of a soul retrieval, and then I was like, okay, that's happening. That's just happening. And then the next day I was like, I just heard you have to go to these ruins. Mm-hmm. So I went, and I was sitting there, and suddenly I just saw this purple light grid open up above me, and I just knew. That was it. I just knew that was it.
That's so funny that you say that, though, because like you were saying about the Rubik's Cube, I just knew what my mission was when I awakened. You know what I mean? I did not know that terminology of awakens. I knew that something had changed inside of me, but it was called to me, my mission. You know what I mean? Like, that's part of what your mission is. So it came to you. And so now your job then is to teach others like myself, even though I'm spiritual and I'm on a different end of it. And then we each one teach one, so you show me what, how you learn, and you help others like myself, because I'm on the other end of, of hearing about the records, opposed to me telling you, Anayza, you know what my mission was? I'm supposed to bring all these people together and help us to, work together on this mission to help the world and to change the world. And, through my messages, my messages are different that come to me, So it's just interesting that you can talk to people and connect with people that all have a piece.
Yeah.
Of the puzzle, like you said. And so forgive me for being, not really knowing the correct saying and pronunciation, and because I know it happens, but when I think about it, it's like, man, I actually don't know about that side of it. I don't know everything about spirituality, but I am specializing in what I'm supposed to specialize in. You know what I mean? So yeah. Now, did you ever, go ahead.
I was going to say, I feel that's an important thing, because I think, especially now, like in this world of media and commercialization, when we have this image of everything, including what it means to be spiritual, and it means X, Y, or Z, like this person. And the thing is, though, the more we look outside, the more we don't ever see our own reflection. And we can learn. Everyone's a teacher. Everyone has something to share. But it's really, you're the only person that can really know your own path is yourself. Right. And to really sink into that and just feel inspired and encouraged by others, but not ever feel that your path is any way less or more in comparison of another. It's like, I feel that's a really important thing to realize in this awakening journey, and for that we're all just so unique and so different, and like we're speaking one language with many different dialects,
That's a very good way of putting it, because we absolutely are speaking one language. Because it's like, okay, when you tell me something, I feel as though I know what you mean. Like it hits me like, I do know that. I feel like I know it, but I just don't know it,
I know exactly what you mean. Yeah, that's it.
So now, when you do open up the records, do you have to like turn them on and off, or do they just come like, how do they come to you?
Yeah, it's a great question. So it's changed a lot, like throughout. Everything is always changing and morphing. So that's fun. So when it first happened, they were just always there. A lot of my practice in the beginning was meditating. So I would open the records, and there was like be a counsel. I'll basically sit with purple with what I would perceive as these purple orbs, and I would be in the library. I wouldn't be, but I would just meditate with them and just like kind of absorb, like match my resonance with their resonance, and sort of absorb the information, kind of grounding myself in the record so I could feel confident. And I practice. I called friends and been like, I did this. I've opened the record. Can I give so many people sessions to practice? But your question was, so I don't do this. Once again, everything is flux, but I did have a prayer. So I don't actually need, they're actually always present. Because they're always present. Mm-hmm. It's sometimes they would be like super like present, as in I'll like know a lot of information without being asked. And then sometimes I'll have to kind of tune in, like turn my mind to it. So that's like something that has changed. Sometimes I use opening, closing prayers just to create the container. So that is something that's useful. But as I like use different modalities and use different channels of spirit influence or inspiration, my processes have changed, and they continue to change as everything changes. Yeah. But yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so they're always there.
Yeah, they're always there, but they've changed. But also it's changed. Like how I perceive them from my personal self has changed, but how they may show up in service when I'm in service of another is in some ways same, if that makes sense. So it's like my personal experience with them has changed, but how I experience them when I connect in the session has remained in some ways constant. So it's a funny thing. I mean, for anyone out there who's like, who does this and who, because, so we live in and our more normative world is that we know what to do because we see it and it's a form, and like there's a security in knowing, like, you knowing the steps and knowing the outcome. The thing with this work is that there are no steps and there is no known.
Right.
And so, and also everything that all the tools that so many spirits and councils and members and that I've experienced in my astral self have changed. They've and they keep changing as I change, and as the call, like Gaia, Earth consciousness, Gaia's call is, as the louder, the more we're able to hear her, the more we change in order to respond. Like that's been my experience. And so for anyone out there who like experiences that, just like trust. Like for me, my mantra right now is just so much trust. So
yeah. So is there ever a time when you can't pull them up, or they automatically, for anyone who you need to pull them up for, they come up?
One time I had a client who I couldn't work with because it just, like, whatever frequency he was vibing at, it wasn't a frequency which I could be supported of. I actually perceived the records like crackling, like literally, like actually, like, yeah, like caving in, like if it's a glass, kind of like a glass ceiling, and they were just like, I wasn't at the resonance at that moment to support them. And then I've met other people who I was able to support, and they've told me, a lot of healers haven't been able to support me because they say what's with me is too large, like too like things. So I find that could, that might be one's capacity, but also I really just think about it as resonance. Like right now, our resonance wasn't able to vibe. Right now, I'm at a resonance where I feel quite, I feel like I haven't received a no in a long time. Like I can work with everyone so far who comes to me. Yeah. So that's cool. But the thing is with, and I didn't answer your question directly in terms of can I pull them up every time, because I do other things. It's not always the record. So I have other ways of sensing into what is needed. So people might come to me asking for X, Y, and Z, and my response is always what's needed, what I feel, what's present. So, and I don't even choose. Just I'm like, this is what's present. Yeah. And this is what I can share. Yeah. So that's like a bit of a difference. And but so far it's always been of service. It's always been of service.
Yeah, because and I noticed too when I had saw you doing a session on Facebook where someone had asked you something and you had to kind of like take a second to get out of that record. You had to take the time to get out, and then before you could clear it to go into another record. Does that usually happen a lot, where it takes a little bit longer to get out of things?
Well, it's something like that because I was doing like a live feed and it was like fast. Yeah, I just do this where I just like clear that person's energy, and I'm like, okay, then I call in the other person's energy, and then I let it come. So one of the switches that's happened is at first, and I still have the capacity to receive lots of words, like word channeling, but now I'm kind of more like I receive images and I feel certain ways in my body and I reflect that, and so. And then I hear words on top of that, like they'll say, "Keep going. This is it," or they'll say, "Anayza, say that." Even if I'm like, "There's a sheep." I don't know. And there's this, and they're like, "This key." So so it's different. Like before, it was like lots of words, and that's still possible. Now it's like this more sensory experience of like images, and this is how my body feels, and I check it with the words. Yeah. When I'm doing it like fast, like on those lives, that's a lot of my own empathic body that I'm just like, that body, and I'm taking another empathic body.
I know. Are you drained after those lives?
I feel so. At first, I feel like buzzed because that's the cool thing about this. That's the cool thing about this work. It's like before it, you're like, I'm like, how do I even do that? Like that's really intense. And then I do it, and I'm like, oh, this is Earth. Yeah. Like cute, like people are beautiful, and like we're all the same, and like people coming from like Europe and Africa and the States,
Yeah.
It's all over the world. And I'm like, how incredible that I can sit, for 30 minutes and connect with all these people around the world. Like, I feel so buzzed, like, because it's beautiful, and it's yeah, it's so beautiful. And then yeah, maybe a little later I feel tired. And I have
once you've come down, like the
yeah.
Yeah, because I know, even just, I don't read the records, but, just my own other things that I do relate still, you know what I mean, with the words and the visions and then the draining and stuff. So that, I mean, not draining, but just afterwards, you know what I mean? After you've been hyped and then just coming down,
Yeah.
it can be a little bit much. So,
Can I just say something to that? Like, just about, because there's process, right? We're like, beings, human, divine, spirit, nature beings, and process. So like up and down, I feel I hold is completely normal. And then I also have a question, about source, this from source, through source, as source. So I hold both. I hold that, source is infinite. And then there's also the translation of source through a body, through a body that is malleable. So I guess, I just wanted to say something to that, like in terms of because I feel like there's a way that you're kind of, it's not coming from, maybe if it's like a really draining from your personal sense, it might not be like you're sourcing, right? Like look at where we're sourcing from, like something else. Am I really sourcing from spirit? Because then that's food, like that's
yes, but the physical body is what feels, because we're not used to that, that's not something we've done all of our lives and had that, that kind of honor.
That's the evolution, right? Like, because our bodies are like,
maybe that's kind of what I was talking about, where I was getting at earlier. Remember when I was saying, as you're drained, are you working a lot? I wonder if I kind of was getting off of, because I know you do. When was the last time you did a reading? Did you just do a reading recently?
Recently, well, today. I mean, I had today, and I also spent time with a friend today, and so there is, when I said who I am, it's what I do. It's like, when does it? I like, this is who I am. So it's like, when do you not do a reading? Like, I don't know. Like, things happen. I'm existing. So there is this like being human. Like,
yeah, I get it, and I like what you said too. You said, I wrote it down, from source, through source, as source. Is that what you said? I'm gonna put that as a quote that you wrote, that you said. Okay, all right. So tell me more about family constellations and how does that work?
Okay, yeah, great. So family constellations, I'm in a program right now, but I was not trained classically in it at all, so I don't know that background, but I do know that Bert Hellinger is a man, and he lived with a tribe in Africa for many years, and he observed their like rites and rituals and how they use healing, and he came with this phrase called the Orders of Love, and I feel like he inspired the term family constellations. Like what it was called in this particular tribe is different, but now it's used, to use all over the world. And so what family constellations are is that, I mean, there's many ways to do them, because you can do them in person, like with a group of people, or like a lot of times I do it 1-on-1 or 2-on-1. I have someone I collaborate with and do sessions with. So basically okay, more classically is let me say it this way. So every pattern or pain challenge we have, it's based on the premise that this did not originate with this body. Okay. That we inherit our trauma and our pain and our wisdom and our pleasure from our family and from our ancestors and from the collective field, from our soul lineage. So what constellations does is it kind of traces back through your ancestral line and through your soul lineage, where is a core wounding? Like, where did this originate in your line, so that you can sort of reorganize the orders of love, so that we're sourcing ourselves from a free flow of love versus like a disjointed lineage. Yeah. And, and also the earth. I mean, there's so much the earth has received a lot of trauma and violence, and it's also a source of nourishment, but it's also, so much of what my guidance is like really calling in the earth, not only as a resource, but also as the vehicle for the venue that also is healed. Through our reorganizing these channels of love, we also bring the earth into a frequency of our own memory of love.
Mm-hmm.
So that's, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I absolutely love that, because that is what my message kind of came to me as. We've been through so much trauma, and we want to try to teach more on love, the true love. You know what I mean? Not just I love you, love, true love. And that was the reason why the whole thing started with the platform, to find people so that we all could come together to bring back the remembrance of that and what that truly means, and how much it could really help the earth and just help, you know what I mean? Because it's such a beautiful place. If we, you can look at it in that light. It's just such a beautiful place. There's so many beautiful people, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And we just got some work to do, but I think, we'll find our place. We'll make it work. We're going to get to where we need to go. Do you think that this earth could, well, hold off on that question, because I'm going to ask you something later that's going to relate to that. So we're going to hold off.
All right. So, because I want to respond to what you said, but maybe I should hold off.
You know what? Let's go ahead. Let's talk about it.
Because I feel, so there's, so there's lots of, okay, so I'm going to use it in this way, but I don't feel that this is like this isn't the only way of viewing it, but there's Gaia consciousness, like the concept, like Gaia, mm-hmm. And then there's like kind of more Mother Earth and Earth consciousness, and so Gaia is the like the spirit. You think I think of it as a third energy. So we're two people, two formed right now. There's a third energy between us. It's the energetics of what we form. Okay. So between Mother Earth and Source is the energetics called Gaia. Like she's the spirit form, and I feel she's in 5. Like she's the head. Like I was talking about with a friend, but also there's a feeling that in many ways that New Earth is calling us. It's like it's there. And so much of what and you're talking about the evolution is happening through us. Okay. Mother Earth has received. There's lots of wounding. There's like there's a wounded feminine that has existed, and it doesn't. There's no so much. We don't really blame or shame or feel bad, or there's really no need for all of that. Just to kind of recognize and honor. Right. That this is what has been here, and through this honorance, I feel all the elementals and all the beings that have been forgotten and sort of pushed aside into more this 3D form. They start to be invited back, mm-hmm. and the spirit of them starts to be invited back, and the Mother Earth spirit's invited back, and then our body spirits are invited, like our matter, the molecular structure of our bodies are invited back.
Wow!
Through this remembrance.
That's deep. Because you've spoken to me about New Earth before, and I understand completely what you're saying. It's that language. You know what I mean? It's that language. So I completely understand what you're saying. Gosh. Okay, so I want to get through these questions. Okay. What are sound frequency shifts?
Sound frequency shifts.
Yes.
So, great question. Someone's read read something. So something that started happening to me in Peru is I started channeling light language.
Okay.
And also a language that has come to me is called Earth Tongue. Mm-hmm. And there's these ways of moving my mouth and ways of speaking that offer vibrational shifts. So, and also the sounding, like toning. So it doesn't happen all the time. I really I'm really cautious about looking for sound's sake. I really only sound when there's a presence that needs to sound. Um, that really offers movement. You know, if it's a movement to release the grief and trauma, or if it's a movement to like bring in the light, like, you know, it's either for me, a lot of times it's like the release or the other coming in, and the sounds work in two ways to offer that support. And yeah, so I do that in like intuitive feeling and as well as in constellations.
Yeah, that's why I thought that I know it related to that. And so I wanted to make sure we kind of got that out too.
Yeah.
Part of what you what you work on as well. Okay, so this is my question I was going to ask you earlier. Do you feel other energies around you? Like when you're out at a grocery store, at a library, anywhere, do you feel a lot of that around you?
The answer is yes. Changed. So like many things have changed. When all the gifts opened, they opened.
Mm-hmm.
As right now I'm in New York City, like I'm in Brooklyn, New York. Mm-hmm. And when I came here, I was seeing lots of things. I'll just say yeah. But it's not. It's kind of, you know, if I stopped it, if it stopped itself, it's less. But almost every day, like recently, I see spirits and other energies. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I feel it a lot for me, and I was just wondering, how can you decipher between good and bad, or is there good and bad energy?
I like to right now I use the word useful, like if this is of use or not of use.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's like spirits that are just sort of there, and a lot of times, you know, is there? I mean, in a simplistic way, yes, right. There is things that are good and bad because there are things that benefit us and things that are like may not be for our benefit. But from a like outside of our earth form, everything is. I really feel everything is love, and like everything is bad just forgot that they're love. Like it's like love forgotten. That's all.
That's good.
Yeah.
So you don't think it's bad. You just think that everybody derives from love because that is who we are. That's the beginning. That's the end.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I work with energies that like no longer are useful for people. Sometimes they transmute, or sometimes they like exit. Like, and so they just go through light. And what happens is, you know, I leave it up to source, leave it up to the highest good. But I do feel everything's love, but it doesn't mean like I don't feel every energy on this planet right now is of use to this planet. It doesn't need to be here. Like we have a lot of like dense energy that it could transmute, or it could just like exit and like go live your life someplace else. You know, another frequency. So there's a balance, but a lot of what I believe in my work is like if there was a pain like that's done to someone, or pain someone received or has done, I'm always wondering like what's behind that, like where was love forgotten? Right. Because I really believe that love is first. Like I really feel that. I just feel like I just have to find like where it got dislodged. You know, where's that first time it got dislodged? And that's, you know, that sometimes doesn't happen in one session with someone, you know, because we have a lot of perpetrator victim, you know, like the one who did the oppressor and then the one who's oppressed. And sometimes when we work with those dynamics, we're not always able to trace back both sides, you know, how pain entered.
Right.
But that's really something that's really what I'm here for, to see where pain first entered, so that we can like all move into light together.
Yeah, that's awesome. See where I'm saying about your role and me knowing, you know, because at the end of the day, it is about love, but we just have different missions that we're called upon to do to bring that back to a whole, you know, because it's diminishing, you know. And so, yeah, I all totally in agreement with you on that. So, you know what? I always like to, well, actually, what I'm doing lately is I'm starting to ask one question to end our spiritual talk session. And so I'm gonna ask you your question, which is, if it was one thing you could change, one thing about the world in a spiritual way, what would it be?
That's my question?
That's your question.
Where did I write that?
You didn't ask. I'm asking you that as
Oh, that's my question. Oh, I thought you meant like, oh, I'm going to ask you like a question that I've asked. Okay. I was like,
no, no.
okay. 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 If I could change the world in one spiritual way.
Yeah, if you could change one thing about the world, yeah, what would it be?
Okay. So is this like a material change or like or an energetic change?
Whatever comes to mind.
Okay. If I could, it was just what comes now is just to remember we are consciousness. That like if we could all remember that we are consciousness and to figure out how that lives in us in every moment, every day, that's one thing I would change, that to bring in that remembrance.
Wow. Yeah. But what if it was good or bad? The remember of the consciousness, you mean in a good way?
No, that's the thing, right? I mean, that's the thing. If it's conscious, then if we're conscious, we don't go into hiding and like blame and we don't hide ourselves from ourselves.
Right.
We see it. And like maybe it's good, maybe it's bad, but to see it with the light of consciousness, I feel brings in that perspective and also brings us to our true nature. Wow. And so I feel there's so much of our true nature is being hidden around like so many of these, concepts, but consciousness brings it all to light, and then we can hold the good and the bad, I feel.
That's right. We sure could. We could stand up to what it is and accept it. A lot more, and then we would be more possibly more able to deal with things better because we are more aware.
Exactly.
So yeah, good answer. Okay. All right. So Anayza, tell everyone what's ahead for you and how they can find you.
What's ahead for me?
Yeah.
I've been being tapped on the shoulder for months now to offer courses to help people open their own Akashic Records.
Wow.
As well as, and that can take the form in many ways. It could just be readings for yourself, or maybe it will transcend into readings for others, or it's just really opening your own intuitive gifts so that you can start receiving sort of more answers and more clarity. So that's really something that's on the horizon for me, as well as hosting more in-person systemic family constellation workshops.
Okay.
One that's coming up will be called Our Ancestral Heart. Okay. And I really, what's being called through me is that the native spirits of the land want to be heard within our own personal ancestry. Okay. To link our personal ancestral story with the ancestral story of the land.
Wow. Yeah. Very nice. Well, I do hope that if you'll keep us posted, on, and if there's anything Connect Star can do for you, to bring more people to you for those sessions, those courses or anything, definitely reach out. Definitely.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome. So
can I say briefly that it's Anayza.com to reach me, and that I'm always available for personal sessions.
Okay. All right. Because you have the Voices of Light, right? Is that
Voices of Light? But Voices of Light and Anayza.com are dancing together. So and Anayza, which is my name. So right now I have Anayza.com, and like Voices of Light is what I share under.
Okay. So could you tell them how to spell it out for the website for them to reach you?
ANAYZA.com.
Okay, and you're also on Facebook?
And I'm on Facebook. You can find me at my Anayza or Voices of Light. Okay. And I'm on Instagram. And on Instagram, I'm Anayza Shares. I'm not great. I mean, if anyone can tell, I'm not great at the marketing thing. I've not streamlined it, but it's all in process.
Yeah. Well, you know what? We'll put it in the link below.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that if they would like to reach out to you for sessions, because you do independent solo sessions as well, correct?
Yes, and right now I'm offering free 30-minute consults. These will soon be 20-minute consults. But yes, there's so you can just contact and we can just see how we resonate.
Perfect.
If you're interested.
Perfect. Okay, so Anayza will also be back on the Connect Star platform with another session called the Akashic Records Circle, in which she will talk about, again, more of what they are to you, getting a deeper understanding, correct? Okay, this will be on June 12th, and she will even do readings by donations. So if you are interested, this information is also available on the Connect Star site, and that is connectstar.com and with 2 R's. So ConnectStarr.com. So if you would like to check out some of her recent work that she's done with us, you can also see that on the YouTube site, as well as her later tape session if you do miss it. So, Anayza, it was such a pleasure speaking to you.
Yeah, it was great. Thank you.
Great. I hope that we can continue to connect and make positive changes in the lives of people all over. You are, again, a beautiful soul. Thank you for your spiritual healing work and all that you offer. And thank you so much for chatting with me.
Thank you so much, Winnie. I feel blessed for our paths have crossed.
Me too. Honestly, I do. Oh, well, thank you so much to our listeners. Don't forget to check out previous Spiritual Talk with Winnie sessions on YouTube, or see other beautiful work from the members on our site. And please feel free to join our community. It's free. You can help with enlightening, hosting, supporting, and just offering your love. Again, it's all free. So we are a new and growing spiritual community, and we come from all walks of life to share our spiritual journey. So stop by. Again, we are at connectstar.com. So thank you so much for listening. And until next time, bye.
Bye.
Thank you.